So this is just incredible, this story. This world number one golfer, Scottie Scheffler, dragged away in handcuffs and now facing some pretty serious charges.
The felony charge is shocking. And to be honest with you, when you think about the top-ranked golfer in the world, Scottie Scheffler, this is so jarring when you consider who he is. I mean, he is so clean-cut. He's squeaky clean. He can't be rattled. I mean, he almost is the subject of some fodder around the fact that he is just so even-keeled. So to be detained by police like that this morning, you saw ESPN's reporter Jeff Darlington there, who was on the scene. And what Darlington suggests is that Scheffler had attempted to drive past a police officer this morning trying to get into Valhalla Golf Club, and that he didn't really stop. An officer attached himself to the vehicle, and then he went an extra 10 yards or so, according to Darlington. When he did finally stop, he exited the vehicle, and according to Jeff, the police officer shoved him against the car immediately placed him into handcuffs, and you see him cooperating with officers there, walking with officers, ultimately being detained. For context, which is important, there was a separate incident this morning that caused PGA Championship organizers to delay the start of the second round. There was an accident that occurred in the early morning hours near the course where a man was killed after being hit by a shuttle bus near Valhalla Golf Club. So that incident impacted traffic, and it's likely to think that increased police presence, those traffic issues, ultimately affected Scheffler's ability to get where he was going, even though he was not directly involved in that incident. The public shuttles to the course have resumed play. Play was set to resume just after 8:30 this morning. There is also a lot of weather in the area, significant rain that could impact that delay further. So that would be a more traditional weather delay that we normally see at these kinds of events. But Scheffler's original tee time scheduled for 8:48. That was moved to just after 10 a.m. And we now know, we just learned that he has been released on his own recognizance, but facing those 4 charges following his arrest, the Jefferson County court record showing that second-degree assault on a police officer, that felony, along with the lesser charges of third-degree criminal mischief, reckless driving, disregarding signals from officers directing traffic. Those are a really significant bundle of charges for the top-ranked golfer in the world. We've reached out to representatives for Scheffler, a spokesperson for the PGA of America telling CNN that it's an ongoing situation and they're going to update us. But just a shocking series of events.
The world's top golfer had to play with something of a handicap today. Scottie Scheffler was handcuffed, arrested, and charged with assaulting a police officer while he was on his way to the golf course for the second round of the PGA Championship this morning in Louisville, Kentucky. A big mess based on what Scheffler is calling a, quote, misunderstanding, which ended in a hospital visit for the detective involved, the law enforcement officer, and a mugshot for the world's number one golfer. Still, Scheffler ended his second round this afternoon with a solid 5 strokes under par, tying for third place. Here he is right after his round.
I feel like my head's still spinning. I can't really explain what happened this morning. I did spend some time stretching in a jail cell. That was a first for me.
Patrick Snell of CNN World Sport and Luke Kerr-Dineen of Golf Digest joined us now. Patrick, exactly what happened that got Scheffler in so much trouble? What exactly went down?
Jake, absolutely surreal scenes. I've been covering golf majors for 3 decades. Never before have I witnessed anything like this. It all started in the 6 a.m. hour as Scheffler, the world's top-ranked men's player in the world, trying to get to the course ahead of his second round. But in the previous hour, there'd been, very sadly, Jake, a fatal traffic accident, loss of life of one individual. So there was increased police presence already on scene as Scheffler tried to circumnavigate the crash scene to get to the course to begin his warm-up. Players typically need about an hour to fine-tune their game and get into the swing of things before they actually start play. But it really was a surreal chain of events as to what happened with the police. This is per ESPN. The police officer in question yelling at Scheffler to stop the vehicle. Scheffler, per CNN, continuing for about another 10, per ESPN, continuing for another 10 to 20 yards towards the entrance. And then this really hard to imagine scene where the officer in question purportedly attaching himself to the vehicle. And this is where the injuries came into play here. Scheffler detained, arrested with a video of him in handcuffs. images that went global, that went viral, that shocked the world, Jake. He then was released, though, in time to play and make his tee time. The second round of play here having been delayed by some 1 hour and 20 minutes. He gets to the tee box in time to play, and he had a really impressive round, I will say, of 66. But his play today is not the story. It is what has been happening off the course.
Luke, Scottie Scheffler is a brand new dad. He has a very squeaky clean image. He's a devout Christian. Does this risk tarnishing his image at all?
I don't think so. You know, Scottie Scheffler's built up a lot of goodwill among his fellow players. The fans were out there in full force with him. More fans may have been following him today than Tiger Woods, and they were screaming his name. They were supporting him. The minute he walked on property, Ricky Fowler was the first person to come up to him and wish him luck and shook his hand. There's been a lot of goodwill. I think the entire golf industry really sees this as something that started as a horrible accident, and Scottie Scheffler says it ended in this big misunderstanding that resulted in him being detained today.
Patrick, what is next for Scheffler legally?
Well, that is the big question. It remains to be seen, Jake, but I will say, to echo Luke's point, massive support out on the course for him. Legal steps. Scheffler's attorney telling CNN that he does plan to plead not guilty to all charges. And we can also reveal, Jake, that there is an arraignment hearing scheduled for Tuesday of next week. It is not clear, though, at this point, Jake, whether Scheffler himself will be required to attend.
Luke, golf is, it's such a mental sport, as I don't need to tell you. Are you surprised that Scheffler had such a strong performance today after this ordeal?
Absolutely. You know, Scheffler said this was maybe the best round of his career, certainly one of the best rounds of his career. And it's amazing. You know, Scheffler has this reputation as being a really unflappable, very calm, even-keeled demeanor. It's something that his fellow players respect so much about him. And he said that he was so rattled and confused processing this incident that he was shaking. He was shaking all the way to jail. He was shaking on his way back. I was watching him on the driving range. He was taking these big, deep breaths because he said his heart rate was just through the roof. He was trying to calm himself down. And he said he didn't start to feel comfortable and calm until 2, 3, 4 holes into his round today. It was just a constant battle. And for him to put up the number that he did today, it's incredible on a few different levels.